so much for setting time aside for FTC. We want this meeting to be interactive, so feel free to ask any questions anytime. So I'll start off by introducing myself and the team. We are a second to third year team participating in FTC. We all love Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, playing Rocket League, and Among Us. But most of all, we all enjoy FTC just like you guys because it is just so fun to learn about robots. My favorite part of robotics is programming since I find it really enjoyable. This season's this season's ultimate goal is one of the seasons I'm most excited about. It's been a while since the alliances got to physically launch things out of their robot, so this year's battlefield will be crazy fun. So, just a few questions. How many of you guys already participated in FLL? So, for those of you who already participated in FLL, you guys might already know that you guys already might know the gist of building your robot, programming, testing it, adding attachments, programming it, testing it. If it doesn't work, then do it all over again. Yeah, that's basically the same thing for FTC. It might just take a little longer. So today we want to discuss about how we can how we want to discuss the very basic things about FTC and how we can try to help improve your year.
Okay, so these are just a few things that you should keep in mind throughout the season and throughout the matches. So overall, you probably know that the robot game consists of 3 periods. There's autonomous, driver controlled, and then end game. Something we learned is that if your robot has a strength, something it can execute consistently well, then really play on that strength and focus on it throughout the different periods of the robot match. So try to aim for one strength in each period that you can complete every time. So for example, if there's one task you can complete in autonomous consistently, in driver controlled, if you can deliver, block, stack, throw, something you can, something that's really reliable, because this will definitely attract other teams to you, because you'll make a really good alliance partner that'll be good at collaborating. It's also very important to make good impressions on the other teams. Although we're all competing, you'll see that FTC has a really collaborative environment, and so you'll want to make friends with people on different teams and reach out to them throughout the season. Different teams often help each other with lending parts, advice, and practicing robot matches. And lastly, it's important that before matches, you talk with the drive coaches about your strategies throughout the match, and that you were communicating throughout the match so that you were helping and not hindering each other. That kind of applies more to in-person competitions, but it's something to keep in mind.
Outreach is connecting to the community and educating them about FIRST. There are various opportunities to volunteer. This includes helping at a food bank, cleaning up the park, or making meals. As long as you feel like you're making a positive impact on the community, it can be documented as outreach. This could also mean creating your own sessions and telling others about your experiences. Last year, we focused a lot on outreach and completed 25 events and impacted over 750 people. During the summer, we attended sessions with the Lemelson Foundation and Oregon State University. We went to 9 of these camps and presented FIRST, FTC, and FLL, which is shown in the bottom right picture. Furthermore, you can take this opportunity to learn. You can attend classes and learn more about FTC yourself. The top picture is the class we attended on PTC Creo. Outreach is a very open-ended category, and you should feel free to be as creative and outgoing as you like, as long as you've made an impact. Although during quarantine, it may be hard to connect with others, there are also benefits since you can broaden your audience by going virtually. Everyone can do their own independent volunteering and is documented in the engineering notebook. By doing at least 15 to 20 outreaches events this season increases your chance of winning an award and advancing to the next round. We won the Connect Award through our outreach last year, which was a significant part of our season.
As a FTC team, you have to pay for every expense that your team has. This is because as an FTC team, you have a lot more stuff to buy and a lot more expensive stuff to buy. Reach out to companies and ask them for sponsorships. You can advertise their logos on your robot and merchandise. By doing so, companies can give you from zero to infinity. not infinity, but based on how you fundraise and more companies can give you. There are many ways that you can get money. One of the other ways that some teams make money is by making a GoFundMe page and asking everyone you know to donate to it. You can also partner with nonprofits and apply for grants through them. Finally, another example of fundraising is by having fundraisers. There are many ways that you can get money. The only rule is that the money you get must be from the process of fundraising and getting it yourself. However, there is an exception for teams. You should have each parent donate a certain amount to your team and get it matched through Intel or other foundations or companies. This should only be used for initial expenses for your team, like registration, and other expenses should be from teams fundraising for money.
Do any of you already know what CAD is? If you don't know what it is, I will give you a quick rundown of it and what it is useful for. Okay, when designing different features of your robot, you have to make sure you plan it out. One way you can plan it out is by using CAD to prototype different ideas. CAD stands for Computer Aided Design. We use it to model our robot and design parts. Did you know that most of the technologies that exist now were probably modeled in CAD? The CAD software that we use is PTC Creo. There are many other CAD softwares that you can use, such as Fusion 360, SolidWorks, and AutoCAD. By using PTC Creo, you are able to build your design and see it function in different perspectives. It is important to prototype your design so you can get an idea of what your final creation will be like. You can also use it to 3D print. Overall, CAD is an excellent tool that can help you and your team in many ways. It is a necessity in order to have a successful team. Now we will have a quick tutorial on how to use PTC Creo. So we won't actually be showing how to use it, but I'll just show you like how the interface looks like. So you can create parts in PTC Creo. Like I created this for a test. And then you can also build assemblies. So this is an assembly of our robot from last year that we built before building it. So we had like an idea of what it was going to look like, what parts we needed to order, and how it's going to function. Yeah.
The drivetrain is the basis for your robot, other than the chassis. It's the group of parts in your robot that allow it to move around, like the motors and wheels. There are 4 main drivetrains that are used by teams each year, which have their own pros and cons. The 4-wheel, which is the basic tank drivetrain, and it's easy to build but hard to maneuver. The Mecanum, which is very maneuverable but hard to program. We used this drivetrain last year, and it really helped with going around the field, but other robots were able to bump and push us.
There's also the 6-wheel drivetrain, which is what we are planning to use this year for a robot. It is very fast and can be easily programmed, but the rest of the design and build will be very hard. Also, there is the swerve drivetrain, which can maneuver the best, but is the hardest to program, inefficient, and very expensive. Because it is your first year, it is best to go with the 4-wheel drivetrain.
When designing your robot, there are a few things you should keep in mind. Focus on one task at a time, meaning the whole build team is designing one thing rather than splitting up the intake and scoring between different people. And also, brainstorming ideas with the whole team is very important because the more ideas you have, the more innovative your designs can be. Also, make sure you have an idea of how your robot is going to look before building it. The best thing to start off doing is drawing your robot on paper, then ordering all the parts you need. Make sure you limit the number of orders you make because it takes a long time for them to come. So when you're ordering parts, make sure you order all of them at the same time. And the biggest thing is sticking to one idea after choosing it. It's really easy to change your design after seeing another robot performing well with a different design, but instead get inspiration from them and improve your design. You're also spending more time developing one idea rather than jumping between different designs, making your robot more solid.
So, what does a programming team do? What does the programming team do? So, the programming team has jobs all across the field. But before going into depth, we first have to learn about the basics, the Java JDK and the Java SDK. So let us first start with the Java JDK. In general, in the world of Java, a JDK is referred to as the Java Development Kit. It is basically a library of codes which can be imported into the program for us to use. These codes are accessible everywhere when programming with Java. While this is only the first part of its use, the second important use of this is the fact that it allows what we are writing in the IDE for the computer to understand. Since computers are machines and not humans, they will not be able to understand English or Java unless it's in binary code. Do you guys know what binary code is? It is basically code in the terms of ones and zeros. In this way, what we actually write in English or Java can be translated by the computer and executed to our robot. That is basically what Java JDK is. Now, let us move on to the second part of this slide, the Java SDK. Let us first talk about in terms of Java and then move on to the specifics in relation to FTC. So SDK is basically the shorter term for software development kit. And in the context of FTC, this is a preset of programs that is provided to us by FTC, which we can then incorporate into our program to make the challenge attainable. For example, in FTC, we need the need of motors and servos are important, and we need to learn how to program them eventually. The Java SDK provided by FTC makes our job easier. It allows us to use specific FTC language, for example, motors and sensors, to make the robot understand what we are saying. It also provides us with samples. For example, there can be sensor codes with building blocks of what we need to know in order to program a sensor and other useful attachments. And even on the brighter side, FTC provides us with a new SDK based on the current challenge that they have proposed to us every year. So this year, this SDK is based off of Ultimate Goal. So just to recap, a JDK is a library of codes that can be imported to our program, and this helps the code we write be turned into binary code for the computer to understand. The SDK is a preset of programs provided to us by FTC based on the challenge, which we can which can be vital in making technical advancements.
Sorry, okay. The engineering In FTC, there are two main IDEs that most teams use. One of them is OnBot Java. OnBot Java is specifically an FTC programming tool that allows programmers to use a web browser to create FTC programs. This is simple in that there is no need for a big setup process that includes downloading the Java JDK and FTC SDK. Programmers are able to program in block and text-based codes. Block coding is very much like programming EV3 robots in FLL. However, it is harder in that there are less options for how you can program your robot. This IDE is recommended for beginners with Java and First, although Android Studio is better for writing complex code. You can write complex code in OnBot Java too, however, OnBot Java is a cloud-based service which isn't always good, considering that if something happens to OnBot Java, like it deleting all of your programs, you can never get them back. If you decide to use OnBot, we highly recommend you to download your programs onto your computer if in case you lose your programs on OnBot. You will still have them safely downloaded into your computers and can get them back by copy and pasting. Another IDE is Android Studio. Android Studio is an IntelliJ-powered IDE used for programming Android apps. In this case, we are using it for FTC to program the phones. The platform is a little intimidating to use the first time you look at it after downloading. However, you will understand how to use it in no time. It also allows for teams to program more than one program at once, unlike OnBot Java. For example, this means while one person is programming the autonomous, another teammate can program the teleop on a different computer. If you save all your changes to GitHub, the programs will automatically update for your other team members. But teams cannot program one piece of code at the same time. If one person is already programming autonomous, another teammate can't work on the same autonomous at the same time. In Android Studio, programmers are able to write text-based codes. Text-based codes are, text-based. However, what we mean by text-based is that in Java, we write in words, which Android Studio compiles and translates it to binary, which is the universal language for machines. Android Studio comes with a variety of sample codes helpful for writing new codes. For first-year teams, this is really helpful because the basic building blocks from programming your robot are already written for you. It also helps learn to code Java and get the basic understanding of how to program the robot. Android Studio is linkable with GitHub. GitHub is a repository or a folder which contains all of your programs, which can be pushed and pulled to gather changes that other people may have made to some of the programs. Android Studio works very much like OnBot Java. The platform acts the same way. However, it is important for teams to understand how programming works before using this platform because it can get a little complicated.
In FTC, there are two main sensors that are essential to the movement of the robot. The first one is a gyrosensor. A gyrosensor helps determine the angle, angular velocity, or the change in rotation. The sensor shows the degree from 0 to 360 degrees. Using a gyrosensor ensures that it is more accurate, which will benefit the whole team. The other main sensor is the color sensors. The color sensors transmit lights and decides the color by the light that is reflected. This can be used to detect the blue and red lines on the field and also the pictures on the side walls. These sensors are especially useful during the autonomous period.
Encoders are attached to drive motors, and instead of tracking the robot using elapsed time, they actually count the revolutions of the motor shaft. So there are many counts in one revolution so that the measurements can be really specific. It just depends on which encoder you're using. So for example, our encoders have 760 ticks in one revolution. So it's usually a pretty large number, so that gives high precision. Encoders allow your program to move larger parts of your robot with high precision during autonomous. So when you're programming your autonomous before the matches, you can move forward with a really accurate number instead of using time. And in the driver controlled period, you can see that encoders allow your motors to kind of act as servos because they have more power and control and you have higher precision.
The engineering notebook is a compilation of lessons, the process of building and programming your robot, a record of all of your team meetings, the outreach you did, your business plan, sponsors, and budget. Right now, that sounds like a lot, but every meeting and every outreach event, if one of your team members takes 15 minutes, you can write a short paragraph which adds up over time. In the engineering notebook, it is important to include the most important information that will help you get awards. And this information must be outlined specifically so that judges can go directly to where they want to go for the awards they are considering you for. In the engineering notebook, you want to have detailed explanations of everything you have done that shows you are a strong candidate for the awards that you are aiming for, which should be all the awards. Every time you brainstorm or come up with ideas for your robot should be in the engineering notebook. Every time you spend or fundraise money, and every time you went and did outreach, and every time you have a team meeting, these should all be in your engineering notebook. A new engineering notebook is needed each year. The engineering notebook can decide if you qualify for the next level of the competition or not. Most rookie teams make the mistake of not properly going through and doing their engineering notebook. A tip for the rookie teams is to dedicate the last 15 minutes of every meeting to filling out the engineering notebook.
Earning awards is one of the best ways to show the judges and other teams how good your team is. Winning an award also advances you to the next level of the competition. But there are multiple awards which have different ranks. While the awards that are higher up in the list can instantly advance you, lower awards might not have any effect. This is when you must decide which award you want to aim for. Going for a good award, such as the Think or Motivate award, would be the best start. If you believe you and your team can do more, aim for more. But remember that you can only win one award. If you want to do more, aim for the Inspire Award, the highest award in the competition. But this will be very hard to reach with other veteran teams trying to get it as well. The best start would be to go for one award and put in all of your work. Awards can get you to the next round. These awards include the Inspire Award, the strongest contender in the robot game and each award, the Think Award, the best engineering notebook with science, math, and strategy, Connect, the best financial plan and connection with people in the STEM community, Design, the best aesthetic and functional robot, Motivate, the team that can help create new teams and inspire others to take a part in the STEM. Earning an award may seem easy at first, but you need to be the very best and have the most work and numbers to support you. In our rookie year, we didn't focus too much on this, and we tried to create the best robot, but that didn't end up so great. We thought we did pretty good with around 10 to 15 outreach events done, but we didn't even come in the top 3 for any award. Last year, we were able to start our outreach early in the summer and racked up a total of 33 outreach events, where in some we talked to professionals in the STEM industry. This gave us a huge boost and won us the Connect Award in the qualifying round. We also got second in the Motivate and third in Inspire. We were able to win the Connect Award in the regional round as well, where we were the winning alliance, which instantly put us to the next round. But by having the Connect Award, it was a backup or failsafe if we didn't do good in the robot game.
So the judging presentation is actually really important and sometimes overlooked in FTC. Even if your matches don't go well, the judging presentation is a chance for your team to show all the things you accomplished over the season and all the effort you put in as a team. So just like FLL, in judging, you give a short presentation and answer questions. When answering questions, designate the people who presented a certain topic to answer their topic-related questions. For example, if I presented the types of sensors we use in our programs and in our robot, and they ask a question about sensors, then everyone will know that I should answer the question and there won't be confusion. When presenting, make sure to also point at your board, point to the robot, and really try to get their attention. You can even have multiple presentation boards, for example, one for robot design, maybe one for programming, outreach, anything you want. It really doesn't hurt. And you can display these at your pit so that other teams and judges can see everything you did. Pit judging is also super important, and if judges come to your pit to ask more questions after judging, then that means there's something that caught their eye when you were presenting, and you probably are in the running for some of the awards. So make sure to keep someone at your pit at all times so that if the judge comes to ask questions, there's someone there. Pit judging more applies to in-person competitions, but it's just good to keep in mind throughout your FTC.
First gives out $80 million in scholarships through 200 different providers every year. These scholarships can only be used towards a bachelor's, master's, or a graduate degree. Most of the scholarships are only available to seniors in high school. However, there is one for juniors who have previously been selected for the Dean's List Award. All of these scholarships are merit-based, so if you maintain a good GPA at college, you will keep receiving your money. Although these scholarships are highly competitive, you will most likely at least get some partial compensation for your college tuition. First also partners with STEM companies to offer students internships. Your experience at FTC can help you get accepted into better universities.
So here are some tips we have for your team. First, splitting up your team members. You guys probably already do this, but have a program team and a build team. And you can even split up those teams into sub-teams like autonomous and teleop in the programming team. This lets you get work done faster and more efficiently. Second tip, make sure everyone on your team has something to do. We found it best to assign different tasks for people to complete for the day. This lets everyone stay focused and gives everyone something to do because you never want someone who's not doing anything and just hanging around because they don't know what to do. The third tip, you should have a fixed meeting where everyone on your team can attend. In those meetings, you should spend some time collaborating between sub teams like build and program because those really go hand in hand. The meetings during the week, sub teams should meet individually and do their work, but definitely spend the weekends getting most of your work done so you don't have to spend much time during the weekdays. The last thing, like focusing on your strong points in the robot game, try to focus on one award that you think your team can win. A lot of teams try going for multiple awards, so you can focus on one award you think your team can win, and there's a higher chance of you winning that award.
So over here, we just have some programming resources if any teams want to use these. These programming resources are very basic links that lead you to IDEs, GitHub, programming, programming lessons, STEM robotics, and these are really handy tips. And if you're ever stuck on anything, you can, for example, if you're stuck on programming, you can go to the STEM robotics link, check it out, see what area you're struggling in programming with Java, and it'll just teach you. These are some links that we'll copy and paste into the chat. Um, uh, so at the very top, this is our website. In this website, we talk about most things that we talk about everything that we talked during this presentation in the website. And if you missed anything, you can either go to that website or feel free to email us. And here are and here are the links that you can use to help yourself when you're programming. And like I said before, this includes IDEs, the JDK and the SDKs, GitHub, and just programming in general. And from there, this concludes our presentation.
Thanks for listening. And if you guys have any questions, let us know.